First of all, hopefully all of you are enjoying the gains that this market has produced the last several months. Can you believe we're actually right about, on the indexes, right about where we were prior to the whole shutdown and everything like that? So hopefully a lot of you have seen gains in your 401ks, mutual funds, all of that stuff, individual stocks. So hopefully you're doing well financially. Now, I don't know whether to be saddened, to jump for joy because of this story. I don't know. Let's try to read some headlines on this. Just go through the headlines real quick and try to figure it out. You get the gist here. Former Pinterest employees allege pure hell of unfair pay, racism, and retaliation. 2 black former Pinterest employees went public with claims of discrimination and retaliation during their time at the company that ended last month. Former employees, axe to grind. We'll see. Their stories come as companies across Silicon Valley and the U.S. grapple with how to respond to growing calls for racial justice. A Pinterest spokesperson said in a statement the company is confident both employees were treated fairly, but that it is committed to furthering efforts in diversity and inclusion. They had to slip that statement in there, put a little black check box up on their Twitter. I don't know what this woman is all about here. Looks like it's their CEO. Clearly not a white woman. Two black former Pinterest employees went public. Yeah, we read about that. Oma Ozma and America Schmidt. I can't even pronounce these names. Is that one person? Is that 3 people? I don't know. Who worked on Pinterest's public policy team. Please, I hope I don't have to pronounce their names over and over again. I'll just refer to them as A and B. Said their attempts to achieve fair compensation were rebuffed, and they experienced retaliation after retaining outside counsel. In a phone interview with CNBC Tuesday, the 2 described several instances where they felt managers at Pinterest unfairly assessed their decisions and disabled gaslighting tactics when they brought up their concerns over issues like unwelcome comments on ethnicity. Because of their experience at the company, A and B said Pinterest's statement in solidarity with the BLM terrorist movement rang hollow. As protests against police brutality ripple across the country, in the wake of several more killings of black people at the hands of law enforcement, companies throughout the U.S. are grappling. Yeah, we know all about that. We don't care about that. Come on, give me the meat. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. According to Pinterest's latest diversity report, 4% of employees identified as black, 45% identified as white, and 44% identified as Asian. He was speaking Asian. Pinterest said, in the report, it aims to increase hiring of underrepresented groups across the company. I think we're going to stop there. You get the point. Now, what you're thinking may be the same thing I'm thinking. If a company has a report that talks about all of their employees, numbers must add up to 100. We've got 45, 44, plus 4, that's 93. 7, where does that come from? Latino, and they'll probably mix some other in there with that. If they're talking about increase hiring of underrepresented groups across the company, what does that mean? Because if you look at the numbers, and you can check me on this if I'm wrong, but I think whites, and again, it's kind of sometimes confusing how they classify somebody as white. They say white, non-Hispanic, Latino, whatever. There's all these different kind of categories for it, but pretty sure that whites still make up more than 50% of the population. Could be wrong on that, but if that's the case, wouldn't whites qualify as underrepresented then? Because to be equally represented, you should be equivalent to your population density within the general country at large, right? So whites should be being hired more. So more whites should be getting hired. So whites need to file a lawsuit. Latinos, if they even made up the rest of that 7%, they'd be underrepresented. Blacks would be underrepresented. They're at, what, 13, 14% of the population. Asians, I think they are, what, 8, 9, 10? Again, check me on those numbers. That's just the last time I looked, which was a couple of years ago. I don't even really think about that. Asians. So does this mean that for you guys out there, you guys and gals, you Asians, that you're shit out of luck? That we need to hire, that we need to fire, what is it, roughly 75% of you, 80% of you, and then give all of those jobs to blacks, to whites, and to Latinos to bring those numbers in line with the population, because it seems like that's what they're talking about. And if you saw a previous video I did where there's a black porn star who's calling for some kind of 15% rule, trying to use her platform to twist the arm of companies, trying to use her platform to advocate for black people only to be represented at a 15% level on grocery store shelves or support of black-owned businesses, not talking about the quality of the product, but trying to use her platform to force companies to put black stuff on the shelves regardless of quality. Same kind of thing here, right? She's saying 15%, but is this a situation, like I said, where whites have a lawsuit, Latinos would have a lawsuit, blacks would have a lawsuit, gay people would perhaps have a lawsuit, we don't see their numbers here, trans individuals, Christians, Muslims, I can keep going and going. You see where it goes, folks. You see it never stops. Once you open up that floodgate, which we did a long time ago, once you open up the gates, it just doesn't matter. You think, hey, Silicon Valley, liberal haven, all these companies, oh, so diverse. It's a matter of choice in career. And that's what people don't seem to understand. You're forcing diversity by hiring less qualified individuals, or forcing individuals into careers that potentially maybe they don't want to go into. Not saying that's the case, but you're just trying to create a situation where diversity has to exist. And in a lot of professions, it doesn't exist. What about nursing? Most nurses are female. Are you going to tell me that males have an opportunity to file a lawsuit? Whites, blacks, Asians, all males, probably underrepresented in those fields. Gays, probably overrepresented in the male population of nurses. Christians, like I said, Muslims, any religious group you can name. Is it time for them to start filing lawsuits? It's a crazy place we live in, right? Everybody's got an axe to grind. It's a big grift. Everybody's going for their monetary gains here. People are going crazy right now, going for theirs. And all you have to do is just say racism, ism, discrimination, sexism, transism. Oh, I think you get what I'm saying here. You would think these companies are safe, being in Silicon Valley, the liberal haven, but that's why I'm saying I don't know whether to laugh or to cry. Because look at this company. They've got 44% Asian. That means that in addition to everything else, with only 45% white, 55% non-white. That's not representative of the demographic of the United States. I would say, if anything, they're being discriminatory against whites. Obviously, you can throw blacks in and Latinos because the numbers aren't reflective of the overall population, but you think that you're being super liberal, that you're super woke, but it always comes back to bite you in the butt. These individuals, when they infiltrate your company, if they don't get their way, they just see you as their enemy. They're not going to see you as that great liberal company that hired 44% Asians. They're going to see you as that company that fired them, probably because they were a lousy employee, but if their skin tone is right, if their gender is right, lawsuit time, baby. That's what happens when you let people in like that. Yeah, like I said, getting back to it real quick, it's about career choice. We choose to do things differently. Things interest us differently. And that's why there's a wealth gap among races and among genders, the choices we make. So forcing diversity, I don't know if that ever gets us anywhere. Let me know what you think about that, though. blacks, whites, Latinos, go get it. Time to sue Pinterest. Get it. Wonder what that male versus female ratio is there as well. All right, take care, everybody. Thanks for watching this video. Let me know what you think.